My name's Ken Whitfield. I'm at the Gator Show in Lakeland, Florida, and I've been collecting automatics for about 35 years. These are some of my favorite knives from my collection. One of them's a late 1800s French Cutlery. This one here, I don't know, probably early 1900s Voss cutlery. It's a tab release. This one here is a 6-blade Zoppus, probably, I'm guessing, from the 50s. Pretty scarce. This one here is a 4-blade Korokama. The Korokama knives are very well known for making stilettos and very sought after. A lot of the collectors didn't even realize they made camper-style knives, so that one's pretty special. And then this one here is what a lot of us refer to as a Mickey Mouse stiletto. It's got the ball ears. That's probably from the 60s, and it's got some really spectacular horn on it. But those are some of my favorite knives that I brought down to the show with me just to show some friends.
So you pretty much like switchblades?
Too lazy to open knives manually.
Okay. And those all from France?
No, this one's French, this one's German, this one's Italian, and this one's Italian. I've got about 500 or 600 old mint knives. These are just some of the ones that I think are kind of special, so I brought them down to show some of my good friends that haven't seen them in person before.
So the French don't seem to be that noted for switchblades, but they did make a lot, didn't they?
They did. My opinion is they weren't made to be exported to the United States like the Italian knives. I think the Italian knives are more of a novelty. And the market was the United States because they're not really a using knife, most of them. With maybe the exception of the camper-style knives, you could actually probably use those. But most of the stilettos are just toys for the Americans. But the French made their knives to use. So finding a mint French knife, even as late as the 50s, 60s, 70s, is really tough. They used them, and they used them well. A lot of them are ground down to toothpicks, or, and you'll see them where they use them for pry bars. Screwdrivers, circuit testers. You'll see where they've literally burned, from touching a hot wire. You get that sometimes with the Germans too, but the French seem to be very passionate about using their knives. So it really is kind of special if you can find one that's brand new. They just didn't make them to collect; they made them to use them, and that's probably one of the reasons why they're my favorites. The stuff that were made just as collectors for the Americans. I'm not as fond of them. I like the using knives. They're a little more special to find them in mint condition. And I'm really, really picky about the condition of my knives.
What are the ages of some of these then?
Like I said, this one runs probably maybe 1890s to maybe around 1900 or so. That's the last of this style of knife. They made them back earlier, but they were a little bit different, so those are one of the last ones. I'm guessing this one's early 1900s, maybe to the 30s or 40s. I'm not really sure. It looks like it's made next week, though, so it's kind of hard to put a date on them. This one, I'm guessing, is probably 50s or 60s. This was sold from a company in Milan by the name of Zoppus, but they actually made in Maniago, Italy. Same thing with this. This was made in Maniago. I'm guessing probably 50s or 60s. I've never seen a catalog with them in it, and I'm pretty sure these are 60s too. The Italians made a lot of really cool knives in the 60s, a lot of oddball patterns, besides the traditional stilettos. So those are typically my favorite knives from the Italians.
What are some of the values of these?
I'm only guessing. I don't know, and I wouldn't sell them for that. But I would say this one's probably worth maybe $3,000 or more. Try and find another one in that condition. I mean, it's just rare as hen's teeth. Same thing with this. It's got the original polish on the blade, no specks, no anything. It looks brand new inside and out. It's probably at least a couple grand. I don't know about these. I'm sure well over 1,000. It's hard to say. This one could be a couple thousand or more. I know the stiletto style Korokamas bring a lot of money, and these are a lot rarer. But like I said, a lot of the Italian collectors don't even know they exist. A lot of them have never seen a camper style Korokama. These, I don't really know. You don't see them very often. Seen very few of them and had very few chances to buy them. That one I traded a good friend, some stuff for, and happy to have it. It's got just as pretty horn on the back as it does on the front. So it's a pretty nice looking knife. And it just happens to be one of my favorite patterns.
They look brand new. They're in really good shape, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what I collect. I've got 500 or 600 knives like that. If they got anything wrong with them, they probably can't stay in the house. They got to go in the garage or something.
And I see you got a lot of stag.
Yeah, that's just the way they came. I mean, for those style. I mean, I love nice stag, but I mean, it's just happens to be what they have. I have a pretty eclectic collection of stuff from Spanish. I have them from Argentina, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, all over the place, and I like them all. They don't have to be expensive knives. Some of the Spanish knives are probably barely worth $100, but I still love them as long as they're in good enough condition, because most of the Spanish knives are more of a tourist thing.
Show us how they work?
I'd probably rather not fire them just because they're worth a lot of money. Spring breaks, and then, and with anything mechanical, that's always a possibility. They do all function perfectly, but they can snap at any time. So I don't even fire them myself. I'm sorry.
So you have to be careful with old knives and springs, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, some people fire them. I'm a purist, so if it cracks, I'll probably have to get rid of it. I don't want to do that. Once I get them, I try them and I make sure that they work okay and function correctly. I pretty much never open them again.
Store them open?
I do. People claim it doesn't matter, but I've opened packages of closed knives that were broken. It's mechanical; they can fail, and I don't want to. Well, and if you own something that's 100 years old and it's in mint condition, I don't want to do anything that can cause it damage. I want to. When I leave them to my kids, I want them to be just as nice as when I owned them. I'm into doing no harm, so I pretty much don't play with them. I have enough cheap ones around available to me, or stuff I'm selling that I can use for click therapy.
All right, Ken, it's been great, man. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure. Thank you.